So even with all the preparations, the intentionality, and creating the system that is going to allow us to spend time with God throughout this period of fasting and praying, there are certain things that one may expect during the process, especially with your water fast and your dry fasting. Greetings everyone. Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Masana Wakaru Koto, and thank you so much for clicking on the video. So on today's video, we'll be talking about fasting and prayer. It's a very common conversation during this time of the year, in the beginning of the year. It's not supposed to be done in the beginning of the year only. It's something that's supposed to be done throughout the year. It's supposed to be part of our lives as Christians. So we're not fasting and praying to change God. We're not fasting and praying to twist his hand. We're only fasting and praying so that we can grow in our relationship with him. So fasting and prayer, it's a discipline. It's a spiritual discipline. It's another way of us strengthening our relationship with God. So during fasting and prayer, you set aside time where you're going to abstain from food, drinks, or other pleasures. And during that time, you're supposed to be reading the word, which is the Bible, and also praying. So it's still relevant for us as Christians even today to fast and pray. Like I said, we are not fasting and praying to change God. We are fasting and praying to help us to align better with his will for our lives. We fast and pray, we want to seek guidance, we want clarity. It helps us to discern better. We're fasting and praying so that we can submit the flesh to the desires of the spirit. We are fasting and praying as a form of worship as well. It's another way to show God that we love him. But more than anything, it helps us to grow and to mature spiritually in our relationship with God. So there are different types of fasting and prayers. Then the first one being the dry fasting. It's also referred to as the Esther fast. So with this kind of fast, you stay away from food and drinks altogether. You don't drink or eat anything for a specific period of time. And also have the water fast, where you only drink water and stay away from any other kind of food or any other solid food. We also have the Daniel fast, where you only eat fruits and vegetables. So before we go any further into the video, I would love to advise people that are living with certain chronic medications to consult with their doctors and to seek godly counsel, so they can help them to choose the fasting and prayer that will be suitable for them. And this is also applicable to breastfeeding moms. Consult with your doctors and seek godly counsel as well. Prayer and fasting is not recommended for pregnant women, in particular the Esther fast or the water fast. And some of my recommendations throughout the video will be based on my experience as well with the Esther fast or the water fast. I've not done the Daniel fast, but I'll be doing it for the first time this year. I may come back, I'm not sure, to share like my experiences with it. So I'm going to lean towards the dry fasting and the water fast. So as to fast and pray effectively, we need to decide the kind of prayer and fasting that we're going to do, so that it can help us to plan our things accordingly. So effective prayer and fasting is measured by the amount of time one spent reading God's word and also praying. So it's not necessarily based on seeing the material things that you have been praying for during the fast, but more so on the amount of time that you have spent on the word and also praying. So the first thing that you need to do to have an effective prayer and fasting period, you need to determine the kind of fast that you're going to do. So this will be dependent on many factors as well. Like I've already given the disclaimer that you need to choose one that will be suitable for you in whatever season of life. So you need to decide, are you going to do an Esther fast, or going to do the water fast or the Daniel fast? So this will help you to shape your things accordingly. And then the second part will be, you need to now determine the length, the period that you want to fast. This as well will be dependent on the kind of fast that you chose. It is not recommended for you to go days and weeks with no food at all. It's not healthy. So like I said, I'm going to emphasize on this. We need wisdom when it comes to the issue of fasting and prayer, so we don't do anything to endanger ourselves or people around us. So when it comes to the Esther fast, you may not be able to stretch yourself for weeks with no food, but that may be possible maybe for certain days if you're doing a Daniel fast. That may be possible maybe for the water fast as well. So this, like I said, it's dependent on the kind of fast that you have chosen. My experience personally, it was a dry fasting where you don't eat or drink anything until 6 p.m. or you only drink water until 6 p.m. It was not an extended days without food or an extended days with with just the water only. So that's my personal experience. I'm going to share, like I said, some of my recommendations are going to be based on my experience with that. So when you're fasting and praying, does not mean that you need to stay days without food. You may fast from 12 midnight until 1 p.m. or until 3 p.m. But as you grow in it, then you're going to be extending the time that you have fasted. So for effective prayer, choose the kind of prayer that you're going to do so that you can be able to determine the length and the period that you'll be fasting and praying. So there are certain things that one can do to help them to prepare for the season of fasting and praying. This can be relevant to any kind of fasting and prayer. The first thing being, pray about it. Ask God to help you. It's not something that comes naturally. Our bodies are not designed to go a certain period of time without certain things like food and drinking. So ask God to help you. Going to emphasize again, ask questions from people in your church, your pastors or your leaders in the church. Seek godly counsel so they can help you to determine the kind of fast that will be good for you. This also includes the opinion of your doctors as well. This is not for them to choose for you what you have to do, but to give you an insight of what you may be getting yourself into. And then the next thing will be to hydrate and eat properly the day before you start your fast. The truth is there's no amount of food that you can eat that can take you or that can sustain you for a certain days with no food. But if you can, just hydrate, drink enough amount of water and eat properly, have your breakfast, your lunch and your dinner. So at least the first few hours of the day, you have some strength to pray, you also have the strength to read the Bible. And the next thing that you can do is to prepare beforehand the books on the Bible that you want to study. This may be, maybe let's say you want to study about faith or you want to study about discipleship or discernment. You can prepare scriptures or passages or chapters or books that is going to help you to learn more about that. So you don't find yourself just paging through books or paging through the Bible, not knowing exactly what to read. So it's okay for you to prepare to say that, okay, I'm going on a Daniel fast. Maybe the first week of my Daniel fast, I want to read books and Bible chapters that talks about faith. So you know exactly what you'll be learning. So it can help you to prepare. You don't waste time going through the Bible or just paging through the book, not knowing exactly what to read. So the next thing will be having a plan on how your fasting and praying period is going to be like. This is going to be different for every individual. For students, it will be different from people that are working from home, people that are working at the office from 9 to 5. So it's definitely going to be different per individual. So make the plan to work for you. Let it be relevant for your own season. It does not have to look like someone else's kind of schedule when it comes to praying and fasting. Just create a system that is going to work for you in that period. And one more thing that you can do in preparation for your fasting and praying is to stay away from social media. This is your Instagram and your YouTube or your Facebook, Twitter. It's not a must, but it's something that you have to look into. This also depends on the kind of job that you're doing. For some people, they are working on social media, or social media is their day-to-day job. So how they are going to work around that will be different for someone like me who is working a typical 9 to 5 that does not really involve social media at all. If you can afford to, you may consider to stay away from it. So this will help with having less distractions. If maybe let's say you have an online prayer session, you can only log in during that time to attend that prayer session or that prayer group or meeting, whatever the case may be. But to your best that you can stay away from social media. All this preparation is to help us to limit all the distractions, like I said, and also helps us to create an environment that allows prayer and reading the word. So if there are certain sermons that you have, or certain someone that you want to listen to that speaks about whatever subject you want to learn during the process of fasting and praying, you can download those if you can. If they will be live, then you can only join the live stream when that time comes. So the preparations in all, it's make it a little bit easier is to control what you can during the process of fasting and praying. So even with all the preparations, the intentionality, and creating the system that is going to allow us to spend time with God throughout the day, this period of fasting and praying, there are certain things that one may expect during the process, especially with your water fast and your dry fasting. even when you're breaking in the evening, your body is going to complain throughout that process before you break your fast. Your stomach may grumble. You may experience light headache, sometimes not supposed to be severe. Anything that unbearable, please consult and seek medical attention. And you can also experience fatigue. And if you're not careful with this one, it can make you to sleep the whole day and only wake up around 5 or 5:30 if you're breaking at 6. And you find yourself that you've only prayed for or read the Bible only for 30 minutes when you could have done more or maybe had time to do more. So it's very common for one to experience some kind of fatigue during the process of fasting and praying. So all these things are more like withdrawal symptoms, if I can call them that, from abstaining from food and drinks for a certain period of time. So these are things that may be common. I don't know, maybe if the side effects may be the same with Daniel fast because you are not eating the kind of food that you used to eating every day. But I'm definitely sure that with the other fasting, except the Daniel fast, you're most likely to experience this kind of signs and symptoms. So in conclusion, it's not easy to fast and pray, at least from my experience. It's not something that I would say it comes naturally or my body just kind of allows for it to happen without trying to fight the whole process. But in all these things, we're expected to do it. It's something that is expected of us as a Christian. So my recommendations will be, if you can, walk the journey with someone. Yeah, if you can have someone that you can do it together, well and good. It helps to encourage you. It helps to kind of hold you accountable. My first experience with fasting and prayer were with other youth in church. So it was not easy. It was hard, but doing it with other people, now looking back, I think it made the experience a little bit better, or it was kind of encouraging because I was not doing it alone. So when you're doing it for the first time, especially with your Esther fast and the water fast, you don't have to go the whole day. You can start from 12 a.m. to p.m. or maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m. You continue stretching the time as you continually do it as time goes by. So you don't have to stretch yourself to go from 12 to 12 or from 12 to 6. Just do it in a way that you know that it was just not you starving yourself throughout, but it was you staying away from food and also getting time to fast and pray. And it's not going to look like someone that maybe you look up to or any other kind of fasting and praying that you have once witnessed. They may be different for you. So just embrace the whole process, learn from it, and more than anything, it's not perfection that we need. It's just to spend time with God. It's just to kind of isolate ourselves from everything else and just to focus on His word. It's just to submit our flesh to our spirit man, so our spirit man can mature and can also grow. And the other recommendation I have again is stay away from hard labor if you can. You don't have to deep clean on that day. You don't have to batch cook on that day. You don't have to do anything like hard labor on that day. I know sometimes you may want to kind of push time so you don't find yourself like idling around. Maybe you can't sleep after a session of prayer or something like that. But stay away from hard labor. Try to preserve whatever energy that you have on try to preserve the energy that you have on reading the word and praying. It may be different for someone that the job that they do involves hard labor, but for things that for things that maybe you can schedule to do some other time, if it's hard labor, you may consider putting that aside, especially if you're doing it for the first time. So you preserve that energy for praying, you preserve that energy for listening to the word of God. So in all this thing, create an environment that allows you to pray, that encourages the session of prayer. So control what you can control. I think that's what I've been repeating over and over again. Control what you can control. If you're in the office where you share with other people, you may not control the environment as such. But try to find time where you're going to pray. Try to find time you're going to listen to a sermon, and where you're going to read. You're going to read the word. And if it happens for any reason that things don't go as you have planned for it to go, especially if you're at home or maybe you're not having a very strict working environment, I just be gracious to yourself. Don't condemn yourself. You don't stay there. If you failed on this Monday to do it properly, then you try again Tuesday, you try again Wednesday until we get it right. At the end of the day, it's something that we're expected to do as Christians because it helps us to grow. So we have explained what fasting and prayer is and why we should fast and pray as Christians, and the different types of fasting and prayers, and also how to fast and pray effectively, things that you can do to prepare for the journey of fasting and praying, and the basic things that may be common for you to experience throughout the process, and also my personal recommendations based on my own experience as well, on the things that you can consider to take note of when you are fasting and praying. So thank you so much, guys, for watching until the end. And if you are a student, you are a parent, you are working 9 to 5, you're working from home, and have any tips that can help another brother, another sister to fast and pray effectively during this period of the year, during this time of the year, and also throughout the year, you may consider sharing that in the comment section, so we can learn from each other, so we can mature and grow in our relationship with God. Thank you so much, guys, for watching until the end. And if you have enjoyed the video, please consider liking, sharing, comment, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really appreciate your support, guys. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye.